Hey everyone, today I'm going to be going over my 100% win rate portfolio and how to get started investing in the stock market. So, first things first, I'm just going to show you real quick how to actually buy something in the stock market. So, this is my Roth IRA, my main Roth IRA. And guys, everyone gets really confused about investing, researching stocks. Honestly, take Warren Buffett's advice and do what he recommends for the average person, which will outperform 99% of non average investors. People that actually know what they're doing will do worse than you because they don't actually have the peak amount of information. So the thing is the more you learn, the more you realize it doesn't matter what you learn, it's already priced in until you actually have market beating information, which no one has access to unless you have hundreds of millions of dollars. So what that is just a broad index fund, something like SPY, VTI, which is so SPY is the S&P 500. Basically, like here, this is Robinhood. This is one platform you can use to invest. I recommend using something like Robinhood. Just make it really easy, something that you actually can look at and be like, what do? I don't know where to click. It's you just type in what you want, you type in what you want to buy, and you click buy. So SPY is basically the 500 biggest companies in the US, plus or minus a few. They have a couple rules that make things allowed into them. And it's just the biggest companies are a bigger portion of it, which makes sense, right? I mean, if 80% of the economy is in one company, you don't want to only put 1/10 of your money or 1% of your money into it if it's 80% of the economy. If you think you're investing in the US, you think you're investing, in what actually makes up the US. So that's why something like SPY has done well. It also does well because you can't miss out on something that's profitable. Like you can't anything that becomes the biggest company in the world at some point will become the 499th biggest company and the 498th, and you will already own it when you own SPY. It's actively managed. You don't have to do anything. So all you do is you type it in, or another one that's the exact same thing. It just has a different name. Is VOO. Basically, this is right. It's a basket of 500 or so companies, and they make it for you. So all you have to do is click buy, and there's different companies that make these of the same thing. So right now the market is closed, so I'm going to have to actually buy after hours. But basically you just type in what you want. You do dollars. It's so easy. You don't even like, oh, I can't afford a whole share. That's $600 a share. $1, right? You click review order, and then you click buy. And that's it. Buy. And that's how you invest. Genuinely that easy. And there isn't any trick to getting better. There isn't any, no, that's genuinely all you have to do. And things that would do well long term is something like VOO, VTI. VTI includes more world, total market. So this is the total stock market, includes stuff from around the world. But this is kind of misleading because when you buy something like VOO, which is, the United States stock market, all this means is that these are companies listed in the US stock exchange, right? So when you buy some, which means if we look at what it actually is, it's like Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, and sure, these are US companies, but guys, Microsoft is in every country in the world. Apple sells to every country in the world. These are not, just because they're listed in the United States, does not mean that you aren't exposed to the entire world when you own these companies. VTI is a little more exposed because there's some that aren't, later, especially like China. They pretty much have their own economy in China a little bit for certain things. But beyond that, there's a lot of overlap is what I'm trying to get at. So it doesn't really, don't overthink it. Pick whichever one you want. If you want to be a little bit less risky, slightly, you can buy something like VTI. But either way, you're owning 500 companies. So neither of these are that risky. And over the long term, they should appreciate at maybe 8 to 9% long term. Historically, they've done about 10%, which adjusted for inflation is more like 8%. But still, it will do very well. You'll double your money probably every 10 years. Historically, it's been every 7 years, which is amazing. But yeah, that's genuinely it. So now, what am I investing in? How have I done? Well, I'm a random person. Don't take my word for, past results does not indicate future returns, right? So I've done really well in the last 3 months on here. I'm actually up 200% my Roth. I've only actually put $24,000 into this account. So yeah, done very well. This is just since I moved to Robinhood. I didn't start with $60,000 in my Roth. Um, I switched to get that 3% bonus. Use my referral link down below. It's genuinely a like infinite bonus. So if I transferred, which I did, $60,000, I got $1,800 for free just for doing it. And they make money owning your like having you on their platform, which is why they do that. And you have to stay with them for 5 years, I think, to keep the bonus. You don't lose anything if you switch off of them before that. They just take the bonus back, but there's no fee besides the bonus. Anyway, I like United Healthcare. That is my main holding in both my individual account, which is $143,000 right now, as well as my Roth, which is $68,000 right now. Then let's go over my other Roth IRA. You can have as many Roth IRAs as you want, guys, as long as you don't hit the $7,000 maximum per year. So I did not actually add any money to this account because I didn't realize it was a Roth and I kind of forgot I had it. But because I forgot I had it and I don't really use it, I've just been kind of way super risky with it, which has done really well. So we've turned $100 into currently $1,300. And I'll just go over currently I'm holding HIMS, the 2 times leverage shares. Gonna try and swing that a little bit, maybe make 5-10% on it, and then I'll switch back to United Healthcare unless something else pops up. And yeah, it's kind of fun. It's never too late to start investing and do something when you're actually investing for your retirement. One, don't fall into the trap of day traders and other like Forex traders that are trying to sell you a lifestyle. Investing, yes, it'll make you rich when you're old and you don't need the money, but it's not like the money appears randomly when you turn 60. Investing normally makes you money the whole time. And you're going to be way, way, way better off by investing normally. That's way less risky than, say, gambling at all on something that honestly doesn't work. Day trading does not work. Like, genuinely. That's why prop firms exist. They're fake accounts. Like, prop firms, a live account just means that you get live money if you win. But you're never actually trading on the stock market because they know most of their traders are going to lose because it's gambling. They have the house edge. And so they make money off your initiation fees because most people lose. And they lose so often that even though you're trading with, 100x leverage, you still lose. Anyway, yeah, like 10% a year, 15% a year is nothing to scoff at, especially as it starts to compound. And you're like, oh, I can only afford $100 a month, $200 a month, which, yeah, you have to cut back a little bit to get to that point. But $200 a month, as long as you make a couple sacrifices to get even just to that minimum amount, you will do very well. Long term, you'll still be a millionaire. Something like maxing your Roth IRA, which, as you can see here, is $7,000 a year. What is that, $500 a month? Yeah, not great, easy for people to do, but if you can get that done, you'll retire a millionaire. Tax-free millionaire, by the way. So yeah, never too late. Go over my projections for my net worth for United Healthcare. Currently, I own 700 shares. I'm expecting to reinvest all the dividends from them, and I do think that they will be able to maintain their dividend. Not sure about share buybacks, but ignoring that, this is my projections for what that's going to look like going forward. So every time I get a dividend, which for United Healthcare with 700 shares, I'm getting paid $2.21 per share per quarter, which, as you can see, is $1,500, and I get that 4 times a year from just owning the stock. So that means by the end of this month, December, I'm going to have an extra $1,500, which means I can buy another 4.5 shares. And that number can keep going up at a rate faster than the price goes up. So by the end of 2029, which is when this projection goes to, I'll have 788 shares, almost 100 extra shares for free. I'm also expecting about a 7% appreciation from the stock, which means by the end of 2029, which is only 4 years from now, I'll have $117,000 more in my account. This is my annual dividend yield. You can see right now I'm already getting $6,000 a year off my portfolio. This is going to grow up about 16 to 18%. at least projected right now. United Healthcare is a little volatile, so we'll see how that holds to reality. But $7,000 by the end of the second year, 8,000, 10,000, 12,000, and you can see that that does mean a lot. When you add it into the stock appreciation, that ends up being $24,000 of gains in the first year, $27,000 in the second, $31,000 in the third, and $34,000 in the fourth. And yeah, the appreciation here is slowing down. You can see, what is this? That's going to be 11% return, but 11% is still market beating, and at least in my eyes, anything that beats a historic 10% a year is market beating, especially with how overvalued I see tech as. This is just the dividend over time. You can see 1,500, 1,800, 21, 25, and then it ends up being about $3,000 per year. Or no, this is per quarter. Yeah, $3,000 a quarter, which ends up being like almost $1,000 a month, $800 a month. Pretty crazy. And then this is just the portfolio value over time. Again, these are ideal world projections. In reality, things are going to be a lot more volatile. You can see something like United Healthcare, down, up, down, up. And if you go to the 1 year, which is why I invested in it, it's had a very rocky year. It's had a great 3 months. But investing is not like, here this person you would have made 50% in like 2 months and then lost it all a month later. So this is an ideal world. In reality, it's going to be like, I hit 300 and then it goes way down. And then everyone's like, oh, United Healthcare's dead. And then it goes, super low and then slowly gets back to hopefully around the fair value. Although you never know. The thing is, as long as it's below my fair value for it, I'm happy holding it. The only time that I wouldn't be is if it went way above, which is actually why I'm selling covered calls on United Healthcare. I see the fair value of United Healthcare not really reaching $450 a share until about 2029, which means for me to reach a margin of safety where I would want to sell, it would have to get to, this is where, things get a little bit more hazy. I would sell at $450 a share. So I've sold covered calls at $450 a share 1 year out, which earns about another 5% a year, which means this is actually going to be worth an extra, I think it's $8,000 a year because they're $10,000. So unless the stock goes up to above $450 a share, which is when I'll be forced to sell, this will actually be $10,000 of extra profit per year. At some point, it is going to spike up above the fair value. Those shares will get called and I'll sell early. That means that perhaps instead of getting to $360,000 a share, this will spike up super fast. It'll get to $320,000 a share here and I'll have to sell. But that's still above that's still 40 grand above where I thought it would be. And I would be very happy rotating into something like Berkshire if there isn't an obvious investment opportunity like United Healthcare. But anyway, not a financial advisor. I can't give you guys advice on what to do. I can tell you things that most people think are probably not a bad idea. I can tell you what I'm doing, but do your own research, do some analysis. Here you can see I've sold my 430 shares or calls. I guess 430 on my Roth, a little lower than my main account. And you can see these are worth, today they're down $700 because as the stock price goes up, your covered calls are going to go down. They lower your return, but they also lower your risk and they lower your losses. So these are worth currently $4,000. So if the stock isn't above $430 by September, then I get an extra $4,000, which in this account at, 6,100, that's not bad. That's over 5% return. Well, around 5%. So still not bad at all. No, it is. It's over 5% just to sell to limit your profit by like a 430 return. If you guys can see, if you actually click on United Health and then you go trade options and then we go September, that's 2027, 2026, a 430 call needs to go up 32% to break even. No, that's the max profit because I'm selling it. So the 32% max profit, which means I would be making on my account 20 grand. And that's the max I could make within a year. but I would be very happy making 32% in a year. So that's when I would sell. It would be overvalued in my eyes at that point. So selling them is just a no-brainer for me. But you know, covered calls are not free money. I prefer longer dated calls to not sell my shares for a price I'm not okay selling for. Something like weeklies, especially after today, like a 4% gain, I would have had to sell my shares at $340 a share if I'd sold weekly calls. I'm not okay selling at 340. I would sell at 4 or something. So even though these went down quite a bit, they're still like inherently worthless until the stock is worth $430 plus. There is time value, but still, in my eyes, this is just a good position. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video, a little longer than usual stock market investing video. Currently, yeah, it's been crazy. This is basically a 0 to 100K or bust account. I'm expecting it to go to 0 at some point, but so far it's done really well. I pretty much haven't had a loss in it. There was a couple option plays, bought some Honeywell calls, then some Amazon. Actually, no calls on Amazon, but Amazon made 20% in a day, so that was cool. And then some Berkshire, and then, oh yeah, Grindr, because they had an acquisition offer, and that made like 40% too. I would have $2,000 in this account if I didn't sell those early, but you know, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. Let's see, I didn't really start investing in this account until June 2024. That's when stuff started to really consistently go up and up and up. I just had this money sitting in here until, actually it might have been, yeah, June. It was about when I started actually like investing the money. Before it was just sitting in SPY, I think, or I don't even remember, to be honest. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys taught you something about how to invest. Really, it is that easy. Just buy something like SPY or VOO, and you'll do well. Don't do what I'm doing. You know, I have a lot of numbers, a lot of fluff here, but that doesn't mean I really know anything. Even if I'm right, that does not mean that I'm smart. And people, like influencers, all the time tout their success as proof that they know what they're doing and that there's someone to listen to. That doesn't mean crap at all. Lots of very successful people are idiots. And kind of like with bodybuilders, lots of very strong people don't know how to work out. Doesn't mean that they aren't strong, but it doesn't mean that they know what they're doing optimally. Like this, I've made so much money compared to the stock market. I have way outperformed the stock market, but that doesn't mean I know anything. Like guys, like this account, this is one of my accounts. All of my accounts have outperformed. But it's just luck. Let's be real, guys. This is just luck. 1,000% gain. No one is making 1,000% without insane risk. So such a shame that's not a 6. But you know, 1,040. Like no one's doing that without gambling. So this, I mean, I openly admit this is a gambling account. And then my other account, it's not, you know, outright gambling, but at the same time, also I've been swing trading it. That's why this is. I used to only have like 76 shares, and now I have 200 shares of United Healthcare. So I've been able to swing it pretty well. But again, you shouldn't do that. It's pretty stupid. I think I sold here and then rebought here and then sold here. Or actually, I think I sold here, rebought here. So it doesn't really matter. Anyway, or 328. Pretty crazy. That's actually my average cost. Pretty lucky. Oh well. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Peace.